Hello, everyone. Welcome to another authentic conversation. I'm your host, Adele Bernard. And before we get into talking about the guests we have on today, let me tell you a little bit about Transition Clarity and the company that supports this podcast. So, Transition Clarity is all about, and I, the owner, is as a soul strategist, intuitive guide. It's all about releasing the conditionings, the beliefs, the untruths that you've been told that you are not, so you can shine your light in your most authentic way. It's clearing out the traumas that have held you back from having true success, holding on to that grief, the sorrow that isn't there to keep you submissive. And right now, I'm looking at truly supporting the men in the first responders or veterans that have seen it all. And they're coming to just do their job, no different than a plumber or a doctor or a teacher. But through those things that their job entails that they have to see, and removing it from their system so they can go and do their job. I do have a retreat coming up, depending on when this is being aired, that will be up in the Canadian Rockies. I'm sure it's just one of many. But if you're unsure if this is something that you want help with, there's always a free call that you can have with me with no obligation to work with me. Um, and with that, let's tell you about our guest tonight. And today is a new one for this podcast. We've never had two guests on at the same time, so I'm excited to do this. And before I introduce them, once again, like, subscribe, share with your family and friends. If you like this podcast, it helps the algorithms to be seen more. I appreciate everyone who's downloaded, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or iHeartRadio. I'm so thankful for every listener. And with that, let's welcome our guests. So, after healing from supposedly incurable diseases without doctors, pills, or medical protocols of any kind, Lisa Warner and Mira Leon S. each realized that the medical model is not helping us with our health. So they have teamed up to do something about it. They are the creators of the Whole Being Healing, a 12-week transformational experience that helps people take their power back from the system and remember how simple healing is. Lisa is the best selling author of Simplicity of Self Healing that can be found on Amazon. It's a 10th anniversary ebook. Mira, along with her husband Keith, is the best selling author of The 7 Steps to Successful Relationships, a practical guide for everyone, also available on Amazon. And with that, I want to welcome them to the show. How exciting, ladies! I'm so glad you're here with us today on Authentic Conversations. So, we're going to start with Lisa. And if you could just tell us in your own words, how did you become to who you are today? From,
Well,
yeah, a little bit of background. So it gives our audience a little bit to work with.
well, I grew up as a healthy, fit athlete. I was a figure skater. I had this like athlete body that always did whatever I asked it to do, and I never really thought a whole lot about it. And I just kept doing my life and living. And but then living and life got really complicated and really stressful, trying to figure out where I was supposed to fit in the world and what job I was supposed to have and how I was supposed to earn money and like the whole thing, like nothing in this world made any sense to me whatsoever. And and I looked around and I didn't see a whole lot of people that thought the way I thought, and I felt very, kind of isolated, and I never felt like I fit in.
Mhm.
And my life just started to get really, really stressful and difficult. I had to work all the time, and I was not a happy camper because I knew that there was more to life than work.
Mhm.
And it was just, I couldn't figure out how I was supposed to find that balance and, return to just living instead of working. And the more stressed I got, the more depressed I got, and the more depressed I got, the less healthy my body came became. And I went from being this healthy, fit athlete to a stressed and depressed, sedentary person who was behind a desk or doing things that and so finally, when I found myself facing cancer,
Mhm.
I knew that that my body wasn't the actual problem. I knew that all of the stress and the all of that stuff was what was causing my body to do what it was doing.
Mhm.
So I knew instinctively that pills and chemotherapy and radical surgery and all of the things that they offer to us as remedies or whatever they call it, um, I knew that that stuff was not for me. I knew that that was not the answer. So I knew that I needed to go inside. I knew I needed to reconnect to source somehow, to what was actually natural, what was real. And so I started my own self-healing journey. And the deeper I went inside, the
Mhm.
more the answers came to me.
Mhm.
And the more the answers came, the more my consciousness expanded. And then at one point, kind of the light bulb went off and it was like, hey, Lisa, you're not being attacked by any disease.
Mhm.
Your fear of what's going on in your body is generating much of the problem here.
Mhm.
So, once you start to recognize that what they're saying is not true and your body has the ability to heal itself, I finally was able to get my all of the mental programming out of the way and just allow my body to rebalance itself. And that's exactly what it did.
Well, and before we move on, I want to make a comment of that because it's so true. Like when I talk to people and they say, "Well, they have cancer," and I go, "But that's the door to say go inward.
Mm. Yep.
That's the emotion that's caught. That's saying, if you don't deal with me, I'm going to fester and give you this cancer." Right? It's a cancer of the emotion that's not being looked at. And even when my mom was going through it, like she had to make her choice. She chose the doctor route, and it's all good, right? But I'd go in there and I'd be like, "What's going on in here?" And they'd be like, "Well, we're having treatment." And I go, "To get better. You guys are all looking like you're ready to die."
Mm.
Right? And they looked at me and I go, "It's a party. We're getting better." And so when my mom actually had her last treatment, there's a couple ladies that were actually sad because I wasn't going to be coming with her anymore to have the party.
Oh,
And
Aw.
so I said, "You guys have to keep the party going for the next people coming in." "Okay, we will."
yeah.
Right? So, yeah, tell us your story. How did you get to where you are today and meeting Lisa? We never even talked about that.
Right, I'll get to it.
Okay.
Thank you, Adele. Yeah, so I was definitely not an athlete growing up. I was probably the furthest thing from an athlete because I didn't even like sports, didn't like physical activity that much at all. But I did grow up in nature and, running around outside and things, so that was awesome. But I was a very sensitive child. And people would see me crying and they'd say, "What's wrong? Why are you crying?" And I was just kind of baffled because I was like, I think I was thinking, why aren't you crying? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, the world doesn't feel right. Don't you feel it? So I was similar to Lisa in that way, that it just, things didn't feel right to me from early on. And I think I was picking up a lot of energy from other people and things like that. And so because I wasn't really equipped to deal with that, and I was, you know, br brought into schools, the school system, and all the things that teach you this is how you're supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to do. Then I wasn't really able to deal with my sensitivity in a way that was productive, in a way that saw it as a gift rather than a problem. So by the time I was a young adult, I was very stressed out, and I didn't even realize it till at one point, like I felt what I would call depressed at
Hmm.
one point, and I was speaking to this, I guess it was some type of therapist or something. She said, "Well, it sounds like you have a lot of stress in your life," and I was just like, "What? What do
Yeah.
you mean?" Like, I don't think I knew what stress was or really understood
Hmm.
that I was putting that much pressure on myself all the time. And so at a certain point, I ended up going into a doctor's office, which wasn't a thing that I tended to do, um, that something showed up on a lab test, and my parents were like, "Oh, you have to go to a specialist," and I was just like, "Oh God, I don't really want to deal with doctors." But to please them, I went to the specialist, and of course, I got an official diagnosis of a disease, a thyroid disease, Graves' disease. It's a very
Oh,
grave
okay.
name. And of course, they sent me my parents sent me a book, and they said, "Look at all the things that all the symptoms of this." And of course, as I looked at them, I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I could see how I have that. I guess, yeah, I guess maybe I have that, right? Because it's easy to fit it together." Now,
Yeah.
who knows? But uh, but anyway, I did not choose to go the route that I was being asked to go by this specialist and by my parents, much to their disappointment. But that's one of the things about self-healing is it's a solo path. You don't have to do it alone, but it is your own path. And so at that point, I was pretty alone in it.
Hmm.
But fortunately, I'm someone who has always been kind of a radical individualist and didn't like to follow rules. So I said no. And I mean, they called me at home. They were like, "You need to do so." And I was like, "No, I really don't. The body heals itself. That's what happens. I know my body can heal itself. It doesn't make any sense any other way. Why would the body not be built to heal itself? It doesn't make sense."
Yeah.
So, but what I realized is I really needed to change things in my life. I needed to create peace in my life. I needed to do everything I could to eliminate stress. And so I began to do that, and I did it. And that was probably about 30 years ago. And I don't take any medication. I don't see any doctors. And, they told me, "Oh, if you don't do this procedure, your thyroid will still burn itself out and destroy itself," which is what they wanted to do to it anyway, and put me on medication for the rest of my life. And I was like, "No, thanks." But yeah, I don't need medication and I'm fine. So that's
Well,
that.
and
When I
that,
found Lisa, sorry,
oh,
you
sorry, go
asked
ahead.
about Lisa. So then when Lisa and I met each other and I found out that she had a similar story of self-healing, and you just don't meet a lot of people who reject the medical system. It's
Hmm.
hopefully, that's growing based on what we're doing now. But yeah, so I was like, wow, another beautiful soul who knows that her body can heal itself and has actually proven it like I have. And so, yeah, coming together with her has just been awesome because now we're just looking even deeper at like what else can we heal? Like
Yeah.
how fully can we heal? How great can we feel? And how awesome can life be?
Well, and that's why, like, I'm so excited to have both of you on the show um, for this conversation because um, I just went and saw my surgeon, and he's like, "What are you doing? Your eyes are better than they've ever been since we met you." And I've had 4 surgeries on my eyes, right? 2 in each eye. And I said, "Well, I'm finally not listening to you guys." And he looked at me and I go, "Yeah, I'm cleaning out all my organs so they are hyper focused on doing what they are supposed to be doing, right? I'm working on me, right? To stop doing everything you guys told me to do." And I wasn't aware enough at the time when I got put on the thyroid. So yeah, I'm in the process of getting off of it
Mm.
Nice.
because it was what you did, right? At a certain age, all women went on thyroid medication. Right? And I know you guys are laughing and rolling your eyes. And I'm like, yep, I was caught. I was caught very young, long before I knew the body could heal, but I wasn't personally in that space yet,
Mhm.
right? Because, well, my grandfather was a doctor, so you kind of listen to doctors.
Yeah.
But then what really twisted the scenario was he started coming to me. And he's like, I was a doctor, but I also listened to my patients. And I was like, cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I started saying, okay, really? And all the courses I've taken, it's like, no, especially the somatic, because he used to always say, it's a dis-ease. Why are you walking around with this dis-ease in your body? And we would look at him saying, like he was in his late 70s at this time, and he lived on cheese pizza, chocolate, and coffee. I said, "You want some water? Why would I want to wreck my body with that nasty stuff?" Right? But he says, "This is my experience. You do your experience."
That part's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I was in his class, I was 240 pounds heavier because I was keeping the dis-ease
Mhm.
in the body, right? Like how you were saying when you're younger, you just knew things, you just did things. And I'm like, I would pile it on so I wouldn't feel it.
Mhm.
Well, no, I just had more tissue to feel it, right? I totally backfired on me. Um, so this is fascinating. So how long have you two been working together now? Like doing your program?
Just about a year and a
Oh,
half, I think.
yeah, we started the mystery school a year and a half ago.
Okay. So
Oh,
this
so
is
it's
the
probably been 2 years since we've been working on it at least.
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
She tricked me. She started just bringing me to the lake. We're floating on floaties. Oh, maybe we should do something.
That's so funny. Well, I'm calling in my sidekick. Um, because it's so much more enjoyable, right? Like collaborating together, the tough times don't seem as hard because you have that person to bounce off of. And yeah, and you can keep each other motivated. Like when there's days like you go, the sun's out, the lake is calling, but you can choose to go together, right? You
Hey.
know what? Office is closed. Let's go. Because you also need that break, you
Yeah.
know?
Reconnecting to nature is so healing. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been so disconnected from our true nature and from nature itself that, we're living in an artificially constructed world and, getting back into nature and resetting our rhythms is really key to the whole healing process.
Well, and you think about it, the trees were our first internet. It didn't matter. They talked to each other
Mhm.
on every continent, every, right? And I have a friend who's a tour operator in the Canadian Rockies, and she says a tree's more alive dead than it is growing. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And she goes, so look at this tree. The birds can come to it. The leaves are fine. And then we went and found a fallen tree. And she goes, look at how much more life, all the bugs, the critters. And I was like, wow. But then I also like the analogy of as much as a tree is high and wide, it's deep and spread. It
Mhm.
only can go tall as much as its roots are deep. And I think that's how we are too, right? Especially in the healing. Like the cancer might be a little pea, but if we don't start regulating and looking at our body and understanding, it's going to keep growing.
Well, it's a healing process. These things that we are told are diseases, we're now understanding that they're actually the body's healing process.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting. Everything's kind of been inverted, so it's hard to wrap your head around. But once you start opening your consciousness to seeing things a different way,
Hmm.
then it starts to really make sense. Just like
Hmm.
you're saying, that things in nature, sometimes seem flipped around, but they actually do make sense because they're all symbiotic. They all support each other. They work together. It's
Hmm.
funny you were talking about the trees being all connected and how it's like it was like our internet growing up. And I was just listening to a podcast last night that was talking about the internet and talking about that all the cables underground all over the world are like a mycelial network at this point because they've just been like piling them on top of each other. It's so funny that you just like said that about the trees, but we are all connected. And yeah, we can connect through the internet. And in a lot of ways, it's great because we
Hmm.
can connect with people like you that are not right here with us.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it's so important to stay connected to the natural world.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm sitting in a room where I have windows all around me.
Hmm.
The trees are right there. I'm just like, they're with me. It's part of what I'm doing. Now,
Hmm.
not to say I'm not going to go out there and I'm just looking, but that's part of being connected to nature. That's the first part. Then you can go outside and put your feet in the earth. Then you can go float in the water.
Yeah.
Hug the tree.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny that you say that about having the windows because when I first started this journey on Zoom, I had met a photographer and he goes, how did you get your lighting so good? And I go, what lighting? And he goes, like you have perfect lighting. I go, perfect nature,
Right?
Yeah.
right? Because they're above me and right. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, wow, like photographers would pay high dollars for that lighting. And I go, cool, because I don't have to, right? And so so as we talk about the trees connecting, it's like it's really interesting um looking at the networking, right? Because Keith, like so your husband Keith was referred to me by somebody networking, and I'm like, I know you. He goes, how do I know you? And I'm like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out, right? And we probably met in 27 2007, 2008 through different networking, whatever. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. And and then when I went back to my friend saying, oh my gosh, like you reconnected me to someone I haven't seen forever. And she's like, you know each other? And I'm like, yeah. Like, not well, but I mean, we know of each other and probably have done some things, whatever. And so it's just like really cool because even the other day I'm out walking and all of a sudden I see this lady. She looks familiar, but I don't know why, because she's gray now. I knew her as brown hair. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to work with her like moons and moons ago, right? But I didn't recognize her to say hi other than hi as we passed, right? Like, because I'm like, you look similar, but yeah. And so I think it's more interesting as like wherever we are in our life and we're calling in what we need to move forward And we weren't ready for those people in our lives then,
Mhm.
but we're ready for them now, right? Because we're like, we've all had our healing journeys, but we weren't ready to find each other until now. And I love the synchronicity of that.
Yeah, Lisa's probably kicking herself now for
Why?
for working with me. I drive her a little crazy, just like I drive Keith crazy. No, it's we
So,
have fun. We
okay,
have fun. We
we
laugh
have
so
fun.
much. It's beautiful.
But let's talk about that though, as in partnership, right? Isn't the quirks that each other have what makes you great together?
Mhm. Yeah, like we each have our own strengths. We each have our own perspectives. When we're coming from a we're both coming from a very grounded, solid base,
Hmm.
and very connected to source, to higher intelligence, and so. But because we each have our own perspective, when we teach together, instead of it just being one on one with somebody, it forms a triangle. So there's the person, and then there's the two of us. So instead of just being one to one with somebody, the person actually gets two different perspectives and then has a broader range of things to choose from so that they can
Ah,
expand their awareness in a really beautiful, organic way. So we really complement each other really well.
so that's even more fascinating because I'm thinking you guys have teamed up instead of doing one to one, you've now gone to many,
Hmm.
right? But you
Yeah.
still do the one to ones that this is where I get excited. It's the triangle, the most
Two to one.
powerful symbol that has
Right.
come through every iteration of our humanness or alienness, whatever. We're not going there, right? To ground into the power. Like you guys are the base helping this person say, I'm ready to soar. I love
Yes.
that.
Yeah, that's what happens with each of our students. And then because we're in small group mentoring sessions with our students, every time one of the other students shares something, it's like we all grow and we're all
Yeah.
learning from each other. And it's just such a powerful experience.
Well, that's fascinating because I did a master class yesterday on sorrow and grief, and it was just like, I'm talking, but it's just like, no, I don't want to talk. I want you guys to talk because I want to learn like
Yeah.
how this is landing for you because I understand why I felt to do it.
Mhm.
I felt the call to do it, and then I'm like interested to see like, well, who's in the room to give it back to me why I chose this avenue because people won't talk about it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
It's go
I
ahead.
think people have become sort of accustomed because we've all gone online, particularly since 2020. Everyone's gone online, everyone's on Zoom, and people are doing education online and working online, and but also consuming a lot of content.
Yeah.
And it seems like people have gotten to the habit, and I myself, have as well, of consuming content, just watching and listening rather than being an active participant.
Hmm.
And so the way that Lisa and I are working is giving people the opportunity again. And we didn't know, like, how will this work in an online setting? Will we be able to connect with people on a deep level the way that we could do, in live transformational personal development trainings years ago?
Hmm.
And we're finding that it's totally possible because people are really ready to
Hmm.
go there. They've
Well,
they've a lot of them have already done a lot of inner work, or they're at least aware that it's needed
hmm.
when they come to us. And so they're just ready to go as deep as they can and really understand what we're talking about because that's an area that people really haven't gone yet. And they can feel that something's not right. and they really want to know and they want to understand, they want to start opening to it and shifting.
Well, and I don't know if you guys do this, but I definitely do this. Like, as much as I need to put food on my table and a roof over my head, I will tell people, you're not ready. And they'll be like, but I have my money. And I go, I'm not here to take your money.
Mhm.
Because you know what? Every dollar that you pay me, it's going to cost me five, right? And they go, why? And I go, because you're not ready. I'm not saying you're never ready, but I'm saying it could be 2 weeks from now, right? It could be a month from now. But trust, you'll call back when you're ready. And if they choose to go with someone else, so be it. They weren't supposed to be my client. Because I was at an in-person event a couple weeks back, and there was a lady I knew, and she's like, thinking to sign up, right? And it's not like, I mean, these courses aren't chump change anymore. Like, it's not like it's a couple $100 and we can go whatever, right? And we were leaving together, and I just said, it's your choice. But I said, do you mind if I share? And she says, okay. I said, your body is absolutely done. It is so fatigued, it needs a break. I said, I understand you want to do this, you want whatever. I said, but right now, it could snap your body and end, like it could be worse. Like you could end up in the hospital, whatever. And she goes, no. I go, okay, have a nice night. Right? Because I don't go and tell people anything. I asked if I could share. She discredited it. I'm gone. Because I see it from when I was doing it, right? You're doing the weekend courses, you're flying into LA for whatever, right? You're doing the full-time job to get something better. And your candle's saying, how many ends do I have? We're doing about five right now, right? And you're
Right?
thinking you're going to put one more thing on because, oh my God, I heard this at the seminar. And instead, my body goes, you're done. And I went, I'm done, right? And that's where we got to be careful when we're working with clients is that we are on Zoom, and I absolutely feel the energy through Zoom as a sensitive. Like I'll be like, whoa, whoever's dealing with that stuff, that's not mine. Go away. Right. I'll stay in the class, but go away. Um, is our nervous system with how much we can download, have at our fingertips without unplugging, is saying enough,
Mm,
right? And I'm getting very good at going block out time for me
mm,
because I can't help anyone if I'm just like at 1% battery.
Yeah.
Are you guys finding the same with your work?
Yeah, it's so important to be able to listen to our bodies,
Hmm.
to be able to tune in to what they're telling us. We've been, there's so much trauma and drama in the world that we've kind of numbed out to the physical sensations. We've kind of disconnected from our bodies and
Hmm.
have lost the ability to, well, haven't really lost it, just buried the ability to really feel what's happening inside our bodies.
Hmm.
So it's such an important skill to remaster.
Well, and your story is a perfect example. If
Mhm.
you're not listening, you will get the diagnosis, right? If you're not looking after your internal organs and you're feeding it all this crap, well, you are going to get a dis-ease. It cannot function, right?
well, you get a diagnosis from going to a doctor. Just saying, if you don't go to the doctor, well, I mean, you could still get it. You could go online and get a diagnosis. But the things that show up in your body are just they're like I said, it's the healing process. It's
Hmm.
the body doing what it's designed to do to support you. So
Well,
even if it's something, it's like we're taught that these things are all bad. They're not necessarily bad,
no,
right?
but I'm saying, so let's use this again. So here's an athlete who looking after her body, training, doing the workouts, and then later on it's just like, why is my side hurting? Why is it always my right side hurting? Right? And you keep pushing through, and all of a sudden your liver goes, "Are you looking after us, or are we shutting you down?" Right? It's been telling you, "Hello, I need some different vitamins, or I need something different, or get on a rebounder and bounce me out, or like something," and you keep pushing, pushing, pushing. It's gonna one day just say, "I'm not working for you anymore." Right? And that's what I'm saying. It's like it's not the big, oh my God, the stadium lights are on. It's, oh, there's a stadium. Oh, there's a door to the stadium. It's listening to the little nudges along the way. And that's where I think people have totally disconnected. It's not about rushing to the doctor or doing it on your own. It's actually just, as I'm sitting in the forest hugging the tree, am I listening to what the tree's telling me? Right? Because there's a park where I live that there's this tree, and I call him Grumpy. Because I'll go by and I go, Grumpy, got anything for me? And you hear this gruff voice. Of course I do, my dear. And I go, okay. So I go and get the message. But it's an old, knotted, like, they're going to take it down soon. Like, I know they will. But it's like, he has the best messages.
Mhm.
And somewhere along my way of seeing this tree, most of my entire life, I just had to nickname him Grumpy because, that's just the voice I hear from him. Right? So,
Like,
how would you say for people to start listening to their bodies before the, you know, so they don't end up at the doctor's getting a diagnosis?
you want to go, Lisa, or you want me to?
Go ahead.
It's like, you're itching to go.
Mara listens to her body all the time, even better than I do, I'm sure.
Well, um, yeah, my body tells me a lot of things. And sometimes it's about listening and sometimes it's about shifting because the the physical, what I have experienced more and
Mhm.
more and learned is that the physical body and the emotional body and the consciousness and our biofield, all of these are connected. And so, if my physical body is doing something that doesn't feel good, is it actually not good? Or is it just my perception of it? Is it my judgment of it? Is it
Mhm.
something that's going on in my consciousness that's causing it either in that moment or in the past? So, when we get curious and we are open to looking at these things, then they can shift. And one of the things that we look at is what has been in my consciousness all of this time? Are the thoughts that I think actually my thoughts?
Mhm.
And for most of us, they're not. They're
Mhm.
thoughts that we have been conditioned with, programmed with by, the media and all these things in our society and
Mhm.
through our families who, although they meant well, were following their programs. And so what we're finding is that um, yes, there are things that can happen to the body from what we're doing, from our environment, from stressors. But the biggest stressor is the consciousness not being in a state of peace and love,
Right.
not being in a state of knowing who you really are, that you're this beautiful divine being. You're not this like messed up, not good enough, ugly, stupid. All these things are part of that programmed, conditioned mind.
Hmm. Well, and I remember um, hearing that as a world, we have that unworthy as a default. And I went, no, there's no way. And you think about it, and it's like pure, and when you pull back the onion layers, it's yeah, like I have a good life, but am I worthy of it? Or this happened, am I worthy? I'm like, we are all worthy.
Hmm.
We have a body for this experience because we were worthy to be granted this body,
Hmm.
right? And even like with the grief and the sorrow, it's like it's not about the job loss or like your a loved one passed or whatever. It's what happened on the playground when you were 6. And then it was what happened when you were 10. And it's all that piled up that your body's storing it all. And then when the so-called bigger world event happens, your body goes, finally, they're listening. They're going to do something about it, right? And that's how I look at the disease in the body too, because yes, epigenetics plays a part, but we can choose to change that,
Yep.
right? And if you think of the native way, whatever they're being called now, it's 7 generations back, 7 generations forward. But if we're not present, it doesn't matter. It's like the old saying, right? Oh, you're so lucky you have a son. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, well, and you go through that whole thing, right? And like even with Eckhart Tolle, is that so?
Hmm.
Because even Eckhart Tolle had a bit of change in his pocket that was the last money to his name for the book to be published, and he bought a lottery ticket. He won enough to cover him over till the book was made and published,
Nice.
right? So
He
if it
thought
can
living or
happen
die.
to the Eckhart Tolles, it can definitely happen to us, right? Because I have a friend who channels Wilhelm, and one of the things that I was like, "Who's this guy?" Like, um, because he says, "Oh, you don't think Eckhart Tolle's one of us?" And he starts laughing. He goes, "Of course he was. We had to have one on the earth because you guys like taking a book with you to the park."
Hmm.
Right? So it's still a channeled message. Just we needed in book form. And I burst out laughing when I heard that. I was like, oh, that's so true. That's so true. Or to me it's true. It maybe doesn't fit everyone else. But
People do love books. I'm so glad they still do. When we started our publishing company that gosh, 20 years ago now or something, they were saying, "Oh, the book is done. It's all going to be digital now." And we were like, "Well, we'll see."
I like
People
the choice.
still like the book.
Yeah.
Like I like having a book on my phone in case there's a lineup or in case I end up somewhere and I just like, oh, it's a nice day, I'll just read.
Hmm.
But then I also like curling up on the couch and under a blanket and read the book too. I like the option of both. So, what would people learn by taking your 12-week course?
Well, they learn to see through a different lens. They learn to see their bodies through a different lens. They learn to see themselves through a different lens. They learn to see the world as it is through a different lens.
Hmm.
When we start to see how far out of tune, out of balance this world is, we start to recognize that our bodies are out of balance because the world is out of balance,
Hmm.
because we're part of this whole ecosystem of the earth. And because everything is so far out of balance, it's only natural that we are out of balance as well. And in order for us to come back into balance, we have to look at how are we going to rebalance not only ourselves, but how do we rebalance the earth at the same time?
Hmm.
It's like, how do we start to look through a different lens that allows balance to come to us and through us?
Well, doesn't that start with being present,
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. The simplest things are the most powerful things.
Hmm.
It also can be the most eluding,
Hmm.
Hmm.
right? Because um, I'm working with a client right now on weight loss, and it's like being conscious and aware of what you're eating, right? And she says, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, because you didn't have the ice cream in your house to eat, you had to be conscious that you're going to go drive to get the ice cream, eat it." And she goes, "And what's wrong with that?" And I go, "As long as you know why you're doing it. If it's just because you wanted some ice cream, you want an outing, like go for it. Great. But if it's because it's something that happened in the day and you're emotionally stuffing the emotion and you're going to put it on top of it, it's like putting the cherry on top of the sundae. Like, nope, you weren't conscious in that moment of why you're going for the ice cream.
Right? And then later you probably felt guilty about it,
Yeah.
which is going to not allow your body to process it properly, perhaps.
Yeah, and then the next day you're like beating yourself up and at the gym and you're just like, I got to work out harder because I went and ate all that sugar yesterday. And it's like, that's a slippery slope. And I used to say, if I want the chocolate cake for breakfast, that's breakfast. I don't eat the chocolate cake and then go and eat the breakfast. I've had my cake for breakfast. Carry on, right? Because yeah, and whether the emotion, whatever, that's a different story. But I chose to eat a bad breakfast. I'm being not kind to my body by doing this. But it's breakfast. You can't go and add more. You know,
You made your choice.
you made your choice. Live with it. And it's no different than pizza. Do you want pizza for breakfast? That's your choice. Carry on. So what was your biggest like understanding or learning through the thyroid, the graves for you?
Good question. That was because there was so much. Trying to think of how to distill it. Yeah, I think it had to be the spiritual aspect, like who I really am and my connection to God, because I remember at a certain point, I grew up being taught how to pray at night before I went to sleep, even though my family wasn't particularly religious.
Mm-hmm.
And then, grew up going to Catholic church, even though my parents obviously weren't really that into it. But I always felt the spirit within me. I always felt that connection.
Yeah.
And then in the course of life, that sort of seemed to go away. And so once I got that back, I had the realization that as a child of God, for me to not love myself, not see myself as beautiful, as awesome, as wonderful, and not treat myself with love and respect and treat my body well, all of that would be blasphemy. All of
Yeah.
that would be, just like thumbing my nose at the God that created me for a purpose.
Hmm.
It's like, what was that purpose? How am I going to discover it if I sit around feeling sorry for myself or if I, you know, decide that, oh, I'm sick or I'm depressed or whatever?
Well, and it's interesting you said that because I don't know the difference between hypo and graves. Um, but I also was listening to a podcast where she was saying, what if time was all messed up and we've been living a lie, right? And it's just compounding on everything we've gone through. But she made some points of like, even in the wording of like October, November, and December, we have it as the 10th, 11th, and 12th month, but it's actually not. Like they're 3 months ahead by, right? Like DECA is 10, not 12, right? But if you follow the 28-day cycle, which is the woman's cycle, which is the moon's cycle, it all aligns. So who decided that that calendar back in 15 whatever is our calendar,
Good question.
right? And she even said, like, why do we celebrate New Year's? Well, back in the Roman Catholic days, that was when the new council was put in, so they celebrated. It has nothing to do about a new year. And so I guess it's coming back to questioning everything is what is your truth,
Mhm.
you know? Because like I was the same way. Like I wasn't brought up in a church, but yet I both my sister and I comment how our aunt gave us the poster of God loves us and with our name. And it was a little girl at the bed praying. And we grew up with that in our life. And we even commented to my aunt, like, that was the best gift we ever got from you. And it delights her because she's a devout Catholic that's still trying to get to heaven. I'm like, Lord, we will not go there. But but it was just like how you're saying, like your family wasn't religious, but you knew to connect with God.
Mhm.
And having that spiritual knowingness that He's there, regardless of the box that they try to put Him in, called church. Yeah, that's to me that's powerful.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's been the biggest game changer for you guys to get on this path? What was your aha moment?
Well, I mean, for me, I mean, one of the many aha moments was, to realize that, our bodies are not being attacked by diseases. Our bodies are um, they're adapting to the environment, to our emotional environment, the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, they're all connected. They're all interconnected,
Mm-hmm.
and they each influence the other. And, we have been so conditioned by society to believe that our bodies are broken. There's something wrong with them. There's a pill for that. Trust the doctor. Doctor knows best. Go to the doctor. Find out what's wrong with you. That all of that programming has not done us a single bit of good because we're probably the sickest society that we have ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And once I realized, oh my gosh, there's nothing wrong with my body. My body is functioning exactly the way it's designed to function. Everybody needs to know this because otherwise we're literally allowing ourselves to be poisoned and killed by
Well,
by false beliefs.
and I wanna ask both of you this too. Like it's also the naturopaths too, the vitamin stores. Like If
Mhm.
we're not going to doctors, why do we feel we still need all the vitamins and all, right? Because it's just the pendulum swing the other way,
I mean,
right?
still there's a pill for that, right? The
Yeah.
vitamins are still part of there's a pill for that thing.
Mhm.
Because most of them are created in laboratories, the same laboratories that are creating the other pharmaceuticals.
Mhm.
So we have to start to really see what the agenda is here
Mhm.
because there is an agenda for our health. They make a lot of money on disease.
Mhm.
And, I say disease is the marketing plan.
Yeah.
And as long as we're convinced that we have diseases that we have to fight, we become convinced that we need to fight our own bodies because our bodies are working on our behalf every moment of every day. And
Yeah.
when we throw our body under the bus and say, "Oh, it's broken. It's not doing what it's supposed to do," eh,
Mhm.
then we literally give away our health.
Well, and it's interesting you say that because I've worked with seniors in the care homes and you got the grumpy ones. Like, why am I here? This is awful. And then you have the other ones that are just like, I'm still here. I still get to enjoy every day, right? And this place is wonderful. Like we have live music, we have great food, and it's like, oh my gosh, like when you choose the right attitude,
Mhm.
it's so cool. And
Mm-hmm.
it's also too like if they even taught me, like I always say, when it's your time, right? Whether you go through an accident, whatever. And this lady, I was talking to her 5 days earlier. She literally went to have dinner, went back to her room, and proceeded to transition.
Hmm.
And I'm like, was her last meal good? Like, and the staff started laughing. Oh, I can't remember what they were serving that day. Like, right? Because you just don't know. But she just decided it was her time and she left. No hoopla, no nothing.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if we could go peacefully when we're actually ready
Hmm.
to leave this body, when it's just like peaceful and not because, you know, of disease or
Well, I think it's a choice, though, right? Like, if we deal with our sorrows and our burdens and I'm not saying stay on the fake side, like truly enjoy and choose life. Like everything is happening for us, not to
yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Like I think that peaceful exit is more common than we are told of,
Hmm. Yeah,
or
very
just
interesting.
in what I've seen, right?
Well, that's what I'm observing from listening to you, Adele, is that's what you attract into your field. And that's
Yeah.
what you bring to the fields of others. It's like you have a way of looking at life
Hmm.
that that's beautiful.
Thank you.
And yeah, and that supports you and it also supports others. And this is where our energy fields, our biofields can interconnect in that way, in a beautiful way. They can also interconnect in ways that aren't so great.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny because I had a friend who ended up in the hospital, and I told another friend who was going to see her, I said, tell her I'm thinking about her, but she knows I can't come, right? And and so when I actually saw her after she's out of the hospital and she goes, oh, can I say something? She goes, yeah. And she goes, thank you for not coming to see me. I felt your love. And I'm like, you're welcome. Because I know if I go, it's 24 to 48 hours and they transition,
Oh.
right? And she was touch and go for about 4 months. And I was just like, I'm not, like I just told everyone, you know, I can't go. And they're like, we understand. So, um,
Mm.
And then like to what you were saying, Mira, it's like I had someone who is part of the sober community, and I said, "Why do you guys all come and find me?" And he goes, "You have no idea?" I go, "Not a clue." He says, "Because you represent the light of God every day. We're trying to get there."
Hmm.
And I was like, "Oh my God," like my heart just like overflowed.
How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and like what Lisa was saying, that I think one of the big ahas for me and for both of us was that the everything about so-called health seems to be based like on a war model that like we have to fight ourselves or fight our own bodies, fight things off, fight these microbes that are somehow attacking us
Hmm.
and you know like they're gonna come attack us from somebody else from being on somebody else and this, like Lisa said, that model puts people into fear, number one, but it also sells.
Yeah.
Fear sells, right?
Yeah.
And it makes people easy to control. When they're easy to control, you can get them to come and buy your products, come
Yeah.
and do the procedures that you want them to do.
But it
And
also keeps us in the lie.
right. And when we're
Absolutely.
willing to look at the truth of who we are, and we're willing to start like feeling that fear and saying, okay, that's not real. And uh, this is going to be okay. And when we come together with each other, like, okay, well, and this is, I think, something that's been really helping people with Lisa and I, kind of coming out the way that we did about our self-healing,
Hmm.
is that it gives others permission to look at that as a possibility and not be scared.
Well, but it also comes back to this is we have to start talking.
Yeah.
Like the shame is still there today for young girls starting their period as it was 50 years ago. And I'm like, why are we still showing them it's shame? It's a rite of passage. It's the wisdom coming in, right? And even menopause on the other end, right? Oh, we're
Yeah.
going to suffer in silence. Why? You are now the elder. You are lifted above to share your wisdom. Why you hiding out in the closet sweating, right?
Or
And
allowing yourself to be given things to you know, somehow balance something that is just doing what it naturally does.
yeah. Well, and I think I'm the oddest woman ever because I think I was like, I wouldn't mind it because it'd warm me up every once in a while. But then I was like, well, I didn't go into that trap. I don't like, I'm like, sorry you're going through that. I don't know what you're going through.
Mhm.
Never had it. Never, I don't know. Maybe I didn't believe in it. I don't know.
You didn't believe in it. That's exactly what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, like,
You didn't believe in it.
Mhm.
right? And so, yeah, and so it's just like looking at how our beliefs still construct us because it's our not self,
Right.
right? If
Mhm.
you're believing X, Y, and Z, where are you? You're not present within. And
Yep.
so I always say to people, I take you from the muckety muck of your head and all the outside world that thinks it has control of you, get into your heart where God is, where the presence is, and you go, those are all lies. Very good. Carry on. Like,
There
right?
you
Like,
go.
and
Right.
I'm not saying this is easy, right? And we wouldn't be on this call today if learning and listening and trusting our body that it's healing itself and that whatever dis-ease we created is for our deeper learning and understanding of how we can create better going forward. Would you guys agree?
Oh, absolutely. I always say like the cancer was the greatest thing that happened to me because it was what woke me up. It's what really accelerated me on my path.
Hmm.
And, I probably would never have seen through all of the illusions that I have seen through had it not been for that.
Yeah.
So it was just such a huge aha moment when I went, oh my God, cancer is an illusion. It's not what's happening to us. It's not real. It
Yeah.
was like, wow, like what the physical body is doing is real. But the idea that it's cancer attacking us is not real.
Yeah.
And people deserve to know the truth about this. And, they're being sold lies, which is very, very unfortunate. And it costs a lot of lives.
Hmm.
And our bodies are designed, we're not meant to live, 60, 70, 80 years and then keel over. Like these bodies are designed to last for hundreds of years. Like
Hmm.
we are living just minuscule lifetimes compared to what is possible,
Well, and it like that's interesting point that you brought up because we're the shortest living humans, right? Because you think of biblical days, they're 900 years.
right?
They're
Exactly.
having babies at 800 years. Like,
Yep,
you know,
exactly.
so yeah, is technology helping us or hurting us? Because we barely make it to 100.
Right?
But we're going in the right direction now because I think
Yeah.
the lifespans were even shorter couple generations ago.
Hmm. But I think it's also we got to remember that we are in a new age. Like the age of Aquarius is all about unity and community and oneness. And, as I have an apple, you have an apple or whatever, or if you have a banana, we share. Like everything's shared. Like it's not like I have this and I'm going to keep it. It's like, no, whatever I have, you can have. Like it's, you know, and, and yeah, it's waking up to what is the ultimate truth for our individualness to be in community and unity.
I love that. We just the other day put something up on our website about giving and receiving, and because we realized that so many of us, and I've been there myself, are not willing to invest in ourselves,
Hmm.
to work on true healing
Hmm.
or for whatever, for something that actually is good for us because we've again felt like we're not worthy or felt like it's selfish to do something for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so we talked about giving and receiving and how we give ourselves a gift, we give another a gift, we
Hmm.
receive a gift.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, ladies, this talk could go forever, but I know that we have more day to go. So I just want to thank you both, Lisa and Mira, being on Authentic Conversations with me today. And I will have everything in the show notes. But do you want to share quickly how they can reach you, how they can get a hold of you?
Sure, absolutely. And come find us at wholebeinghealing.life.
Awesome. And yeah, like I said, I'll have it all in the show notes. But another awesome, authentic conversation. My guests today is Lisa and Mira, and we'll be back.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much, Adele. It's been great.
Yeah.
Wow. I just want to recap what a beautiful conversation with beautiful ladies with Lisa and Mira. And it's true. Like we we don't have to follow the narrative of being sick and let our body not can't heal itself because it can. We're here to understand that we are a divine being. Everything is created by us, so everything can be healed by us. And it's just understanding that everything is being created for our learning, our understanding, our growth, and our awakening. And it's never against us, it's always for us. I will have everything in the show notes how to get a hold of Lisa and Maura for their 12-week program. Once again, please subscribe, like, share this podcast. And if you want to know more about transition clarity and the work I do as a soul strategist, intuitive guide, I'd love to have a free call with you. Look in the show notes for all my details. And please keep following and watching. I'd love to hear your comments. And until next time, this was an authentic conversation with Adele Bernard, your host, and we'll see you soon.